Hi everyone, welcome to our June career webinar. This webinar is powered by the Excellence in Medicine Ladies Network. We are a network of early career African female physicians who are on the journey to excelling in life and in medicine. And we have the privilege of being mentored and coached by the amazing Dr. Jumoke Omenugha. Today, we are going to be talking about an important topic that is dear to everyone's hearts. And we obviously have an amazing, excellent lady doc to enlighten us on this particular topic. Right, just a second. So we're going to be talking about accessing global opportunities, scholarships, award, and visibility for the early career female physician. And it's very important for us to know why we are here because for those of us who are in the diaspora, we know that it's very important for you to see someone who looks like you where you want to be, which is what we call representation. And I think that's what Dr. Ijeoma represents for us. And that's why she's going to be, talking to us today. Before she does that, I'm going to go through her bio just so we have an idea of why she's well equipped to take us through this particular topic. Just give me a second. So Dr. Ijeoma is give me a second. Dr. Ijeoma is a Chevening Scholar. She is an academic clinical fellow, a GP academic clinical fellow, which is the equivalent of family medicine in Nigeria and in the US. And she's also a global health physician with a strong focus on maternal and child health, adolescent health, and health systems strengthening. She holds a Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery from Ebonyi State University. I don't know if you have any alumni or alumnus here. She also holds a master's in global public health and policy from Queen Mary University of London, and a PG cert in medical education from the University of Buckingham, UK. As the founder of Heroes for Her, Heroes for Her is, I think, an NGO that is coordinated by Dr. Ijeoma. She leads a network of young humanitarians who are committed to advancing gender equality through improved access to education, healthcare, and leadership opportunities. And if you've gone through her Instagram, you'll see some snippets of the things that she does through her NGO. And her passion is deeply rooted in her experience as a mother. I know she's a mom of two boys, and her commitment to ensuring no woman is left behind due to lack of access to healthcare. And she combines clinical practice with activism, policy analysis, grassroots engagement to champion global opportunities for women and girls. So I don't know if you can call her a feminist, but she's obviously a woman supporter. So without any further ado, I would like to leave the floor to Dr. Ijeoma to tell us more about how we can access global opportunities as early career African doctors. So welcome, Dr. Ijeoma. You can come out now from wherever it is you are. Put on your video. Yeah, just come out and let's have a
Hi, everyone.
hi.
Thank you so much. That was a very warm introduction. I actually didn't know you have all of that as part of my bio. Thank you so much for bringing me in. Just to confirm that you can hear me all.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. I was initially going to suggest if you want us to, I don't mind, started maybe 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late, but so that more people join. But I guess it's recorded, so people can still access the recording. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. And we obviously we upload it on our YouTube channel as well for members
Okay.
access thereafter. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So I was asked to prepare a slide, something that I would just go with, and I think that's better. So if you allow me to share it, that would be good. Can I
Yeah.
go ahead?
Yes,
Thank
please.
you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, okay, hold on. When I started, I couldn't see myself anymore. Okay, let me just it can be awkward when you're just looking at the slide without actually seeing the people you're talking to. I think that's what's gonna happen to me at the moment.
Okay. I think just a few of us have their videos on. Maybe it's just
Okay,
so don't worry
okay,
about us.
okay, okay. So I'm going to start sharing now.
All right.
Let me make,
Your slides.
okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes, very well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So good afternoon again, everyone. My name is Ijeoma Omenugha, and I'm so happy to be among you today. This is the topic that I really am passionate about. When I got reached out to be here today to talk about this topic, I was like, okay, say no more. I'm in. It's something that I'm really passionate about as a doctor. Finishing medical school in Nigeria, I went to Ebonyi State University, so I'm a local girl. And finishing the normal way would usually be for doctors, the female doctors, or all doctors to do the residency, become a consultant, and see patients, which is very awesome as well. But again, something in me, started changing during house job when, I remember I was having a chat with some of my house officers in Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital, which is where I did my house job. And we were just like, in Obs and Gynae, I started my postings with Obs and Gynae. In Obs and Gynae, you would see patients, women that had a lot of preeclampsia coming in, and everyone is running around to give them max off. It's almost like I am max off. You have to, within the next couple of minutes. And I got to realize that this particular max off is a very painful injection. It's an IM injection, which is very painful. And at that time that the woman is, trying to prevent eclampsia, you don't want her to, you don't really care about the pain of the injection at that time. You just want to give, there's no point looking for analgesia. You just want to save her life, which is true. It makes sense to think about that. But then I thought to myself, this woman is in labor. She's already in so much pain. And we're giving max off. Yes, we want to save her. Is there no way that we can make this thing less painful for women? Like, who are even the people that make these policies? Who are the people that say, why can't this be IV, or just in other ways that, the woman is not going to be in so much pain? And I was like, wait, so I started researching, like, who are the people that actually make the policies? Who are the people that decide that, okay, we should use this, we shouldn't use this, we should use that? And that was actually how my curiosity started. I believe that women in medicine should be much more than just being in the clinic. We should be where the decisions are made, so that, because we are the ones that are firsthand receiving the things that are happening. So we should be where our voice matters. We already have the knowledge. We are physicians, graduated. Who are the people that make the decisions for us? On the global stage, you see ministers of health of countries not even being in the healthcare. I've worked with people in international development, in gender policies, and people that read international development, being the ministers of health, or being global health, WHO, DGs and stuff like that. So you would then not see the doctors themselves occupying these spaces. And I felt, it was something that needed to change, because we've been on the ground, we have the knowledge, we have the experience. So why not? Why not? Okay, so that was actually how my journey started. I've said a little bit about this already. So graduated med school in 2019. I got married as a medical student again. So that's actually how I already have 2 boys. Had my first baby in 2018, 2019, towards my final year. Did house job in 2022 at Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital. Did my youth service around there as well. And then I went on to do my master's in global health between 2022, 2023 through Chevening Scholarship, and then worked as medical education teaching fellow, and now as an academic GP. So academic GP simply means that I am on the academic program. I'm a family medicine specialty registrar, but also have 25% of my time protected for research. So my post is attached to the University of Central Lancashire, which is where I work as a clinical research fellow while also doing my residency. So so that's the slight difference between the academic GP and the GP itself. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't know I still included this slide. So this is just me, a bit more about me. I don't know if this picture is blocking It's blocking some of my slides. Can you see anything moving around on my screen at all?
I can see the cursor moving.
Oh, okay, but not like a picture.
We can see the picture, but the picture is not moving.
Okay. No worries. Okay. So again, this is I have three sisters plus me, 4. I couldn't get a picture of the third one, but just to show you where I'm coming from, I grew up in Onitsha. Onitsha is the eastern part of Nigeria. And I grew up in a normal family, an average family. My mom was a secondary school teacher. My dad was a businessman. And we had a shop in the market where my mom sold okereka. So pretty much I grew up there. This was in 2015, I think. I was in 400 level medical school. I came back. Whenever you come back, you have to go back to the shop, do the business. So I remember this particular picture, we had done our hair, new hair for 3 of us. We finished from the shop, went to the place that we make our hair. It was a Christmas period, and we've all chosen styles, and we made our hair that day. And we were so happy that day because that was the day my school fees money was completed. Because what happens is that during the Christmas period, those that grew up in the East, that there's something called season. Those in the market, there's something called season. Season is like when many people sell goods, like that's the time you sell your highest goods. So we don't joke with season. My parents would usually travel to the village for Christmas. But me and my 3 sisters, we grew up together. We're almost like quadruplets. Like you wouldn't differentiate who is the first, but I was actually the first. The person in the middle is the second, Chinenye, and you see the third one is the third. So we grew up together, and we did all of those things. I would come back from medical school, then go to the shop, sell okay. My English was just there. I had to learn English during the university. So everything was Igbo for me, So, this is how I grew up. Again, just adding that I was a local girl, but I was intelligent as a doctor, So I graduated with distinctions. I was the 3rd best graduating in my school. The only thing I lacked was the exposure to the language of the global stage. And it was during my house job that, again, I said that a lot of things changed. It was after I graduated. At this time, I already had my first baby. I think I was pregnant for my second baby during house job. And I got to move to the southern part of the country. So I grew up in the East, went to university, primary school, secondary school in the East. But I then did my house job in Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital. So it was my first exposure to the South. And I did house job with people that went to school in University of Ibadan, different places. You would see the kind of things that these people had done, the kind of, you'll be speaking to one of your HOs and they'll say, oh, my paper has just been published in BMJ. Oh, I have this reference, I have this abstract for this conference. And I was like, oh my goodness, I lacked the exposure, I saw all the things that junior doctors were doing. But beyond that, even, I didn't know about scholarships. I remember it was one day that I was scrolling through my WhatsApp and I was going through one of the house officers, Dr. Darasimi. I just like, the way, how WhatsApp used to scroll and then another person's own enters and when his own entered, I just saw one girl talking about Erasmus Mundus scholarship. I clicked on the link, it was a Twitter link, so it took me to Twitter and I was just watching the video and she was like, yeah, I've gotten to Europe, I'm going to do 2 years and this, going to Italy, from there I'll go to this. So Erasmus Mundus is a 2-year scholarship that happens in Europe. You're going to move around different parts of Europe. So 6 months in about 2 to 3 European countries to finish up the master's. And how they're going to pay you installation fee, how, book your flight and everything. And it sounded too unreal to be true. And I was like, is it possible that like there's a scholarship that would pay everything for you? Like, what was all this, So that was my first exposure to that. And it was because I moved. I don't think if I was, I still had the kind of friends I had in my medical school that I was going to see this opportunity. Okay. So this also actually highlights the power of positioning. It's good that you belong to this network where they bring people that have, done things to show you what is possible. There's this thing about representation and there's this thing about you seeing a role model. So when I started, most of the female doctors I saw weren't really into, global opportunities, scholarships and all. So, so it was something that I really wish I had. But also, I started my research following that video on YouTube, on Twitter. I went on, the girl mentioned that they had a Facebook page, that they had, groups. I started researching, started joining, started emailing people. These are people I didn't know, but like, sliding into DMs. I'm like, see, I've seen this scholarship, I can see that you're a scholar. I really appreciate the work you're doing and all of that. Please, can you help me review my essay? All this kind of talk. And so some of them along the line mentioned to me other scholarships. So I remember Joseph, he was the one, I reached out to him, and then he told me about, there's something called Chevening, and there is Commonwealth Scholarship, and that there is Dad Scholarship. So those were the 4 I heard about. And I was like, okay, I remember I got a long note. I started writing about, preparing. I'll go to their website. I'll see the eligibility criteria. Okay, what are the things I need? When is this opening? When is the application closing? Sometimes some of these scholarships will have past scholars on their website. I'll browse the person's name, check them out on LinkedIn, check them out on Instagram. Like, what are they doing? What kind of things? What kind of people are this scholarship looking for? Like basically doing all the research and preparing for that. I remember the person told me then when I started that Chevening, it was opening in about 2 weeks' time. As at the time I had that conversation with him, that it's something that you can look out for and apply. And then I went to the website, I saw all the things that is needed, transcript, international passport. Mind you, this time, I was just finishing my house job and preparing for youth service. I had my second baby after my house job. So it was around that time, breastfeeding. That was when I was doing all this research. And I remember I'll wake up in the night, breastfeed, keep the baby. I'll carry my laptop and tiptoe out of the room, open it and start writing down things, So you have to do the research, and there's no restriction to, what you can do. So I applied at the end of the day to Chevening, I applied to DAD, I applied to Erasmus Mundus. I have also put up their websites here. You can, check them out. If it's possible for you to actually screenshot this page and check out social medias, platforms that you can also follow that post about global opportunities. There's a hashtag called Academic Twitter. If you type Academic Twitter, they post about, postgraduate scholarships, especially in the US, and professors are looking for people that work for them in their lab. Depending on what you want, there's so much out there. For me, I was looking for an opportunity that would be in the UK because I needed to do my PLAB exam. I was already in the process of PLAB at this time. So, Erasmus, I had to apply just in case, but I really wanted it to be in the UK. So I focused on my Chevening application. I didn't do Commonwealth application, even though it was UK, just because of the selection, the way Commonwealth selected. I didn't really understand how that works, because I saw somewhere that your country will have to kind of put you up for it. Your country will be like, will recommend you for it. And anything that has to do with your country recommending you, I just didn't bother stressing myself there. So there's so much opportunities that you can actually apply for. This was when I got my Chevening scholarship. I was over the moon. Oh my goodness. It was my first time applying, and I was like, I saw all the people that were doing things, and I was like, that doubt came in that, can I actually get this scholarship? But this is me here trying to tell you. And I heard about Chevening 2 weeks at a time. And before I then, decided to apply anyway, who knows? And, I got in. So I remember we had to sew uniform to do this photo shoot because it wasn't a smart thing for me then. And yeah, so talking about Chevening application, I can talk more on that because that's when I applied. I used to have a very good material on my Instagram. I'll check if it's still there, but it's a PDF file that one of my friends wrote, one of the Chevening scholars that went in my cohort, Chris. And it's very detailed, how to approach the Chevening scholarship essay applications, how to write, how to tell your story. Because one of the things here is a lot of people do things, but how do you communicate what you've done so that people will read your essay and say, yes, I want to fund this person. And so it goes back to storytelling, it goes back to clarity, it goes back to having evidence of the impact of what you've done. And I've kind of tried to link some YouTube channels that you should check out. Victor Aboga on YouTube is a very useful resource for applications for global opportunities. He posts everything about global opportunities in different countries. I had to dig deep down his page. There was a part where he wrote about his SOP and his scholarship essays and the things that he included and, how to do your scholarship essay. I went through them, read, prepared my own. And there's something called the STAR approach. So that's what we use for scholarship application essays. You will find all of this in the material by my friend. If it's no longer on my page, I can, the organizers can reach out to me and I'll be able to send you the PDF material as well. So again, one thing I wanted to highlight, if you're a woman who is looking to, apply for global opportunities, start now to start looking for your referees, who these people will be, because that was something that really struck me then. Most applications will require referees that are standard, people who have organizations' email. That was one of the things I did during house job. I reached out to one of my chiefs then in EPSU and told him, have that conversation that this is what I'm about to do. You're going to apply to so many scholarships. So explain to them that they will be reached out to several times for reference. And, you have to look for someone who is willing to go on the journey with you. Because I remember I reached out to our dean then, and the way he was even asking me, who are you, please, and all of that. So I just knew that, I don't want to get a scholarship and somebody will use reference to spoil it for me. So I didn't even bother. I had to look for one of my chiefs that I know I roll with, and I even helped him to activate his email, his organizational email he said he had, and all of that. So he was my referee. So it's something that you have to really look for, to get ready as part of your preparation for applications. So again, why should we actually bother about global opportunities as a doctor? Why should we bother about these things? There is the power that comes with having that exposure. One of the things you will gain is for Chevening is you will have a network of people who are leaders as well from different parts of the world. You will go to school with people who, fully funded, first of all. You have a degree that is fully funded. My school fees was over £40,000, which I couldn't have afforded by myself. And then, you will have a network of friends who are in different parts of the world doing things. At the moment, over 5 presidents of countries are Chevening alumni. And this is something that makes it, you belong to a network of people that are likely to be presidents in their country, for instance. I remember there's a program at the moment that Heroes for Her Foundation we are trying to launch, the Young African Girls Conference in Nigeria this July. And I remember when I was reaching out to people regarding the conference, the person who was supposed to give us the hall for the conference, a very big hall, as soon as I heard that she was a Chevening Scholar in 1999, I just, you can imagine my joy at that time. I prepared myself very well. And so I spoke to her and she was like, oh, Chevening Scholar, all right, take hall, any hall you want, free, So these are some of the things that you can't buy, actually. You need network to be able to make impact on a global scale. And that's why Chevening will ask you, one of the essays you write is, can you demonstrate to us how you build and maintain network and how you use those networks to influence your community? So it's a very big, aspect of Chevening scholarship. Leadership and networking is something that you really need to show that you are capable of maintaining. And so, having that opportunity gives you this global, opportunity as well. You're able to attend conferences, you're able to meet people and just have a new set of network. The people that I had within my network 3 years ago are no longer the people in my network at the moment. They are still there, but you have more people who are now at the level where you are, because of course we progress as time goes on. Again, the opportunities are endless. So this was earlier this year during the Gavi Roundtable event. That is Dr. Nisha, who is the Gavi CEO at the moment. I was invited to speak to UK MPs on why they should fund Gavi. And so I did a master's in global health. So I knew I was right to be in that room. And you would be in such rooms speaking to such people, and they want to listen to you. The other person by the side, the one on the green suit, the other person by the side, the male, is Adrian, who is the UK One Campaign Executive Director, and Sarah Champion, who is like the Labour MP. So I was in that room with other MPs that were, in that round table. Afterwards, I was also asked to speak at the Bond International Development Reception alongside Minister Annelies Dodds and some other prominent people who were in the conference. And all of these opportunities comes to you after you've positioned yourself as an authority in that field, and also comes with, for instance, for me, it was from my Chevening Scholarship. I had, I spoke at one of the events. They invite you for the next. Oh, someone told us that you're very good at this. Please, can you come to this one? Oh, we need you here, and we need you here. And by the grace of God, in a couple of weeks, I will be in Brazil for the Gavi Summit, and it was all expense paid by Gavi. And this is something that, again, comes with, as soon as you step in, you will continue to get these opportunities as well. Okay, again, from global to local, from local to global, what's the growth mindset? One of the things that shifted for me was realization of who I was. Remember, I started by telling you all that I was a local girl. I've always known myself to be a local girl, Onitsha girl, hustler, and all of that. If you have an idea of what it means to be an Onitsha girl, but as I grew, I realized that I was called to be more. And the people that are doing it are not. They don't have two heads. That's what my mom would say. You are equipped to do more, especially if you know what God have called you to be. And so one of the things that shifted for me also was I sat down and reflected on my journey, and I asked myself, what do I want to be known for? What do I want people to associate my name with? Because the truth is that people would always tell a story about you. So even if you're there, even if you're not there, even if you give them what to talk about, even if you don't, people would already have an idea of what you stand for. And so it's left for you to then give them the right message or the right story to tell. So I sat down and I was like, what agenda do I want to push? What agenda? So this will even help you with your application for your scholarship. Remember, I told you already that during house job, I saw how women were treated in Ops and Gyne, and I was like, no, there should be more to women. I saw women that died, it didn't sit quite well with me. Why should a woman die in the hospital because they didn't have money to pay their hospital bill? Why should a woman be abused? Why should, So these were the things that fueled my emotion. And I sat down and I reflected on this journey, and I was like, this is what I'm putting out there. On the global stage, this is going to be my agenda. I'm pushing for women and girls, their health, their education, their empowerment, their visibility, So I kind of coined out what my journey was going to be like. And I had to deal with imposter syndrome. I had to put it here. Okay. One of the mindset shifts you have to do as well is you need to block off some people. I'm sorry that I have to say this, but you need to find a way to not let people that knew you when you were nothing to continue to make you feel like you're nothing, because you're progressing. You cannot be the same that you were yesterday today. So one of the things I did when I started was I didn't post anything that I was doing on Facebook, because I knew my Facebook was filled with my home people. I didn't want people to start saying, which one is IJ now talking global and talking things like this, I waited for it to mature so that I will post, So I had to block off Facebook. If it's possible, block off WhatsApp. Just I had to open a new Instagram page. If you go to my Instagram page, this wasn't the page I was using as an undergrad. I opened a new Instagram page because I wanted new people to follow me, different people that I don't know, and just build a new network, if that makes sense to you. So that's one thing that I did. I didn't say you can do this, but you can, this is something that I did when I was starting out. Okay. Again, I prayed a lot. I just needed to discover myself, because I knew that it wasn't my calling. It wasn't me pushing. It was something that I had to do because God has asked me to do it. So I needed to be sure that I'm not doing it because of my own personal wants, but also because of, who has called me to do it. And the thing is that if you know that you are in that alignment, it makes it easier for you. You get ideas of things to do. You get favor when you apply for things and things like that. Again, I had to believe in myself as well. I knew that I didn't have what it takes to be on the global stage at the beginning, but I also knew I was intelligent. So I was pinning on my intelligence, so I was, I believed in myself initially when I started. And that was also one of the things that helped propel me again. Yeah, so a whole lot. Follow people that might encourage you on social media. You might not really follow them like following, but follow their journey. Okay, I do that sometimes. If there's someone that I really like, is that I follow you or I follow your journey to see how you are doing it. Sometimes mentorship these days, a lot of people are busy. I've had people reach out to me, mentor me, but how for me, I see a mentorship as a commitment. It's not just, oh, I have a mentee, but am I ready to bring that time to be able to mentor this person? But other ways that you can get mentorship passively from people is following their journey, seeing what they are doing. A lot of people share things these days. Some people, say, this is how I did this is how I got into this. This is the age of social media, so you can pretty much get most information that you want from social media. Follow people that will encourage you, and then build your own brand as well. So this then leads me into branding and positioning for global opportunities. So let's assume that you've gotten the scholarship. You don't have to remain local. The scholarship itself does not already make you global. You have to work on yourself as well. You have to work on your personal branding. There was a webinar that I attended, and that's where I kind of put these 5 Ds that I'm working with for you. And the person was talking about personal branding, that there are 5 Ds of personal branding. And the first one is to dream, to say what you want, which I've talked about. Say it to yourself. Where do I see myself in 10 years' time? As I'm speaking to you now, I know where I see myself in 5 years' time. I know where I see myself in 10 years' time. Where do you want to be? What do you want people to associate you with? Then discover. Discover is now where you do your audit. Okay, if your name is mentioned in rooms where you are not in, what will people say about you? That's actually what personal branding is. If people say that this person call your name and you're not there, what will people associate that your name with? You can ask your friends to tell you this. You can, browse yourself in incognito mode to find this. You need to discover actually what you stand for. Then define. So define is now where you articulate what it is that you found, your research has discovered. Okay, what is the agenda? You can also fine-tune this. People might know you as a dancer, as an undergrad, but now you're no longer doing the dancing thing. Now you want to do a different thing. So you can also fine-tune that and have that picture in your head. Then design is now where you're talking about, how do I show up so that people will see this thing in me? Some people post things on LinkedIn every day. Initially, I was like, why is this person always putting themselves out there? But I started to understand that these people are positioning themselves to be authorities in that place, in their field. So that I remember, like recently, like this conference that we're planning, when I was thinking about the speakers for the conference, there were people that were coming to my mind, and it was unconscious because I haven't spoken to these people before. But these are people on my LinkedIn that I've seen their posts, I've seen them talk, and somehow unconsciously, I already know that this person will be good to anchor this topic for us. That's what, bringing yourself out there does for you. What do you stand for? What do you stand for? What do people know you for? So how do you want to show up? You design it. This is where you then talk about if you want to do color, if you want to do personal branding, if you want to do a website for yourself, if you want to do a dressing code, what's her name? This WTODG, how she dresses. Different people have different dressing code. If that's what interests you, then just talk about how do you want to show up so that when they see this, they know that this was Ijeoma. Ijeoma was the person. This is Ijeoma. Can't be any other person. Okay. Then the last D is deliver. So how do I want to deliver? How do I want to tell my story? Do you want to be doing blog posts? Do you want to start getting people's email address to send newsletters to them? Do you want to be putting things up on your LinkedIn every week, once a week? Do you want to be doing YouTube? Do you want to share your idea on Instagram? How do you want to show up? And this is how actually. Then the last is joining a network, just like you in this particular Excellence in Medicine Ladies Network. Research forums, medical associations, and places that you'll be able to have friends that are within that share the same value with you, so that you all can also elevate yourself together. So this is actually my personal branding tip. Again, coming to conclusion, what should I start doing now? We've said a whole lot. I've talked about my story. I've talked about how I started. One thing that I did that helped me when I applied for my Chevening Scholarship was that I had a place where I was documenting the things that I had done. And the things that I said when I applied for my Chevening were my undergraduate things, how the leadership things that I did, how I led. I was in Federation of Catholic Medical and Dental Students, how I was part of the leadership of that organization for several years, how we organized outreach, how we organized, leadership events. And these were the things, sometimes I had to document them on my Facebook to say, oh, we've done this outreach today. This is what we are doing. This is what we've done. So when it was time for me to apply for my scholarship, I had like links, I had like things that I've done. Again, for now, if you're starting today, have a CV. That's what I'm doing now. Have like a portfolio, or I have a folder in my laptop now where I put up things that I've done, including this speaking engagement, all the places I have spoken, all the for instance, bringing it to maybe if you're in the hospital at the moment, if you teach medical students, you need to speak to the HOD. I need certificate for teaching medical students. Download your certificate, put it in the folder. If you've done a research work, if you've done a QUIP, quality improvement project, if you've done an audit, if there's anything, download it, put it, just be putting it there. You don't know what you're going to use it to apply for. It's going to help you in different things. When I applied for my academic GP post, that post is very heavy on research, it's research based. I had done research work, even the ones that I presented are the ones that I haven't presented, including the ones that I helped to review article that I was just like a supporter or a co-author. I had all the topics and all the, everything about that research in a folder. So when it's time for me to apply for things, I just open my folder and I'm like, what fits into this application? What should I highlight here? What should I not highlight? So start making a personal record of CV. There are templates that you can use on Notion, on different softwares that you can use to organize that. Okay, set small actionable goals every day. I was speaking to one of my colleagues yesterday at work, and she was like, what do you do in your free time? And then I realized that actually I don't have a free time, which is bad though. I'm going to work on it. Like, it's not possible that I'll have a free time. There is always something that is already in my diary and something to do. If I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. After I had my exam in January, I was like, oh, all of a sudden it felt like, oh, there's this space in my life. What's happening? Is everything okay? Why is it I don't have any other thing coming up? You may like open my YouTube channel. Oh, I'm on YouTube, guys. I put up 2 videos there. And I was like, no, I can't just not be doing anything. This is not, there's something must be wrong somewhere. This is odd for me not to be doing something. And so I used that period between January and February of this year to open my YouTube channel. And I was like, okay, that's it. So small actionable goals. Even from today's discussion, oh, I've just attended this webinar. This is what was said in this webinar. This is what this person said. This is what I will be adopting going forward, and all of that. Okay, so that's actually what you can be doing. To conclude, again, I'll ask you to be bold, to express yourself boldly, to not care about what people say about you, to discover yourself. You need that time, one or 2 days or even more, to ask God, like, what do you want? What should I represent? Because at the end of the day, you need to represent God as well. So you need to, come out there, because the people that are there are not better than you. There are so many narratives that are being pushed out there. So you need to come in as well with your own narrative, because if you don't have a strong narrative, people will push you into pushing theirs. So you need to really be sure of exactly what you're coming in, out for. Be bold enough to show up for yourself. This is one thing that I have to highlight as a very shy girl, still shy of camera. Okay, I had to step out because the people that I saw doing it again didn't have 2 heads. They were not better than me. Be bold enough to show up. Position yourself as an authority in your field by putting yourself out there, basically writing the things that you're doing, letting people know that this is what I stand for. Oh, I don't like the fact that children are dying from malaria champion. Oh, I don't like pediatrics. Oh, this is something that I'm passionate about. UN SDG, target to a goal, SDG 3, this is what I stand for. Children should stop dying. You start from the advocacy, okay? Because by the time you're sitting down watching people doing it, those people doing it will continue to do it and continue to do it, and you will never really come out. So start today. One language that everyone on the global stage understands is excellence. You need to know your stuff. You need to know the statistics. You need to be prepared for the opportunity. You don't need to start preparing after you've gotten the opportunity. You don't need to get onto the global stage and then realize that, oh, I'm not even prepared. The summit that I'll be attending in 2 weeks' time, which I was invited by Gavi, was because I had been in a Gavi roundtable that they felt, oh, this girl knows what she's saying, let's invite her. So once you get that one opportunity, don't misuse it. That's just so it comes with being prepared. Okay, it comes with being prepared. That's one language that the global stage understands. Excellence. Okay. And again, you don't need to be perfect to get there, but prepare. prepare. And as you continue to grow, you will continue to learn. Thank you so much for having me. I just hope I haven't overshot my time. And yes, thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And yes, thank you.
Oh my God, that was a powerful session. Thank you so
Should I
much.
stop sharing? Yeah.
Yeah, you can stop sharing. Thank you so much. So down to earth, practical, advice shared. And I like, your story. I like your storytelling. Very easy to remember, from local to global, it's just um it's a memorable one. You've left an indelible mark in us. So thank you so much for, accepting our invitation and also delivering a very relatable and empowering talk to us. So well done. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And yeah, I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say from this presentation, but I would just like to say if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat box. If you want to talk, you can raise your hands just while I chat with Dr. Ijeoma. So well done. You've highlighted so many things, so many struggles that we go through, so many things our mentor, tries to imbibe in us. So yeah, so many things that we talk about in our secret places. You've highlighted so many of them: imposter syndrome, self-awareness, understanding who you are, what you stand for, what you want to be known for, and managing that perception. I tell people perception needs to be managed. You can't just go out there and not manage perception. That's wrong. If you are a very intentional person, you should learn how to manage perception, and that's the narrative that people say about you. So thank you for highlighting that and for sharing your story. For starting from grassroots, the fact that you couldn't even speak good English, that is just vulnerability for me. And then going to OAU, meeting people. Most of us have these shared experiences. We meet people. Most of us have the we share the experience you've just talked about, coming from Nigeria, coming from different parts of Nigeria. For example, I finished from Bafemi Awolowo University, Ilefe, and I'm very sure there are some people, when I was in school, then I felt people who finished from Ibadan had better exposure. Or people who finished from Lagos had better exposure than me that finished from Ife. I felt like if I had finished from maybe those kind of universities, I would have been even, blown more than this. But then you now coming to say, oh, you finished from Ebonyi, and then compared to those of us in the South, you felt we had better exposure to global opportunities than you didn't know. That was, too relatable for me. You mentioned some other things. You talked about network, as in, I don't know. I'll still ask you my question down the line, and everything you said was spot on. Like I was just like, oh my God, like you should be coming to talk to us every day. And you also talked about intelligence as your unfair advantage. Most of us don't, we look at other people and you're like, oh, this person is doing this thing. But if you actually look inward, you have what it takes. And you highlighted why you should be bold, be bold. Talk about what you're passionate about. Because the truth is, the world responds to advocacy. Like, that's the language now. Like, if you want to make impact, you should be able to talk about problems and advocate for those problems. And that's why we are here. Dr. Jimmy is very passionate about young female physicians. I am also passionate about, female physicians. That's why I'm here hosting this session, because this is what I'm passionate about. And you said something about not being, what's it called now, less busy. We can relate to that because we are purposeful doctors, here we are very purposeful. Our mentor does not advocate just being a doctor. She advocates you being a purposeful doctor. Like, what's your passion outside of medicine? Even in medicine, what can you do? And she advocates that we pursue those passions because that's how we can find fulfillment in life and even in medicine, and even in medicine. So I think I'll stop here. There's so many things I want to say. Even your branding slide is just, it was just punching me in the head like, you need to get out there. And you said so many things. Excellence, know your stuff, and letting preparation meet opportunity. Don't get that opportunity before you're prepared. That's what Dr. Jimmy also advocates, Make sure that you're prepared in your secret place. Even that your social media thing that you said you didn't show up on Facebook. I can relate to that, where you're like, you don't want dream killers to kill your dream before you manifest. So thank you so much and well done for what you're doing. And thank you for, accepting our invitation today. So I'll stop here before people say I'm why are you talking about what I want to talk about? So let's just stop. Let me stop here. So I'm going to have a look at the chart. I know Ayomide Fayinto is raising her hand. So if you could unmute yourself and ask your question, that would be nice. Just go ahead. Ayomide, the floor is yours. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay. Good day, everyone. And thank you very much for the session. It was very insightful. Like you already mentioned, the slides are really nice, and I really like how you vulnerable with us to share your experiences that help us understand that we can actually get that level that we are doing for. So my question is, how do you balance period of rest? Because you talk about always having something to do, and it just feels like it's like I'm thinking my language, but there's always one thing I'm doing. If I'm free, like I'm not doing something. So and sometimes you just get exhausted. You don't even remember that you're supposed to rest. So I think like I'm supposed to sleep before last sleep in the stress of work, or when you're trying to finish an assignment. So my question is, how do you create time for that rest? And how do you manage it with many responsibilities that you have? Thank you. I hope I was very audible. Sorry, I'm on the road.
I actually didn't hear that very well. Maybe someone can
I think she was
summarize.
asking maybe in terms of work-life balance, how you find rest. I think that was what the question was about. I'm not quite clear too because
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
yeah, we
yes.
can hear you now.
Okay, okay. So I first appreciated you for the session. And secondly, I said that most of the things that you said kind of related with me, especially part of having to do a lot of things and not even having a free time. So my question is, how do you manage those responsibilities and still creating time for rest and not get exhausted in the pressure of work? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's a very valid question. Well, I still struggle with that, if I'm going to be honest with you, because you have to prepare. Sometimes I ask myself, why am I actually even doing this? Why? Like I said, my colleague asked me yesterday, what do you do in your free time? She was expecting me to say I watch movie or I hang out. And these are normal things that people do. These are things that we should be doing. But I realized that there's so much that I'm doing at the same time. So what I have decided to do is to, to kind of partition the different parts of my life. So for my organization side of things, I'm going to hand over very big part of the work to my assistant, just be so that I would then be overseeing, because it's more like I'm still the one on the ground. I make my slides myself, I send letters, I do little things that I shouldn't be doing myself. So delegation is where I am at the moment. Okay, I realize that if I delegate, because the one that I want to do for myself by myself is to be there for my kids. Okay, that's what that's actually one of the biggest goals that I have. It's also influenced the specialty that I had to apply for. I want to be able to know who my children's friends are. I want to be in their lives. So as much as I do anything that I do, I want to be there for my family. So what I have, started to work on now is delegating some of the things that can be done by other people to other people. And I guess this is, is something that anyone can actually try. At the moment, I still do everything. I do my 9 to 5 job. I do my NGO thing. Sometimes as soon as I come back in the evening, I'm doing the preparations for the things that I have to do. I have my calendar. I have my Notion. So one of the things is also to get a software that you can use to manage your activities. You will find that there will be time. We have 24 hours in a day. So it's like these 2 hours, I'm going to use these 2 hours to send emails. I'm going to use these 2 hours to do this. Oh, I have to cook. So it's just planning, I think. But as much as possible, you won't be able to do so much if you're the one doing everything. So that's what I'm learning at the moment, delegating most of the things that I have to do out.
I think that answers the question. Thank you. Dr. I don't know who. Dr. Makinwa, Falakemi Makinwa.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hiya.
Hi. Your presentation was amazing, and I found everything about the whole presentation very inspiring, especially because it was like the whole global platform that you have created for yourself, the branding and everything. Well, and I like the fact that you spoke about scholarships. Immediately I found out that you were speaking about scholarships, I had cleared my entire Saturday just to listen to this, just to listen to you and everything. Because my question is, I'm also looking out for scholarships. As you were speaking, I was just on the internet researching all these different scholarships that you were mentioning. Apparently, the one for Chevening has closed for 2025, 2026. And then you are also a general practitioner, which is something I want to do. But the only difference is that I have a flair for the administrative aspect of medicine, not the academic aspect, not the advocacy, things like that. But I have the flair for organization, like management, administration, things like that. And something that you said about people posting, I've already started doing things like that on LinkedIn. I have not yet created my own website, but I have a newsletter and people have been subscribing and etc. But my question is, like, how do you is the scholarship space that I'm trying to get into? Because it just seems as if there's it's like a different world entirely, where people just, there are so many scholarships, and then it's just difficult to filter, because like there are scholarships to go to Sweden, Germany. I don't particularly know. Plus the scholarships most people are going for masters in public health. I'm looking for masters in administration or healthcare and business, which is not particularly what a lot of doctors are going into. So that's what my question. Help you understand?
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. I actually realized I didn't come with pen when you were talking, because it felt like I was going to miss some of the points you raised.
Should I go again?
No, let me just try to answer. If I miss anyone, just let me know. Okay. You mentioned about masters in administration. So administration, I suspect you mean like maybe CMDs of hospitals, leadership. Is that what you mean by administration?
I think so.
Yes, things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, these are things that come most times. Those are political positions. Okay, it's not really like you would just become a CMD. So if you want to be a CMD, you need to probably do a math. Not that you need. It's not like this is a straight line way to go about it. But from my own pathway, I'm now able to speak on global stages like Gavi, like One Campaign and stuff, because, for instance, I have a master's in global health. So when I went to do my master's, I didn't do public health because I didn't want to do tropical disease and infectious disease. Something like Chevening can sponsor any masters at all. Even if you're a doctor and you want to then go and do international development or gender or advocacy or anything, the main thing is be able to link it to your background, be able to link it to what you've done before. So you want to do masters in maybe in an administrative role, you'll be able to, I don't know what is there, but you have to do the research yourself to see what kind of masters do I have to do to be able to manage hospital. It could be business management kind of thing, it could be an MBA even, I'm not really quite sure. But so part of what you should do is to sit down to say, this is where I see myself in 10 years time. I need these skills. I need leadership. I need to be able to manage, things. What kind of masters can I do? Okay, I've found the masters. What are the schools that offer these masters? Okay, I found the schools. What kind of scholarship can I apply? Or sometimes you might even have the money to pay for the masters. It's not a must that you have to go through scholarship. Okay, so it's a whole, it's a whole lot, like you said. In terms of choosing where to do the masters, when I started, like I told you, I had my peculiarities. I didn't apply to schools in the US because I just naturally didn't want to go to the US at that time. I had a little baby who was breastfeeding. I already did my IELTS exam and I did my PLAB 1 exam. So I needed to go to UK because I just wanted to also do my PLAB 2 at the same time. So this was why I focused my energy on masters in the UK. Okay. In the UK, there are schools that give you grants. There are, there are schools that will say, we'll pay half of your tuition, you do your, different opportunities. You could get this from this guy, Victor Aboga, that I mentioned on YouTube. But again, peculiarity wise, I didn't also want a scholarship where I would pay some part of the money because I didn't have it. I didn't have it. So I was looking for fully funded ones. I would do your visa, do your flight, everything. So that was how I streamed down to only Chevening, DAD, Erasmus, and Commonwealth. These were the 4 I knew that could do that. There could still be other ones, so it's something that you find with research. So everything depends on what you want to do, your peculiarity, and then you streamline. If you're happy with US, there's academic Twitter. There are professors that you can, if you type hashtag academic Twitter, there could be, people you follow some people on Twitter that are likely to be posting things. Oh, this professor is looking for a student in their lab. Apply through this. You need to be in a place where you see those opportunities. So it depends on you to be able to do that. So when you've done the masters, for instance, in business administration, you're already like making noise. Oh, I have this masters in business administration. This is what management is. Whatever you're writing, you're positioning yourself as a management expert. This is what hospitals should be doing to be able to manage their staff. This is what management should look like. This is what our organization will focus. This is what, you start coiling all those things as part of what you put out there. Somehow people will see you, and you also need to be political. So that's what Chevening taught me. It's not, you're not just likely to get these opportunities by just getting it. You need to be diplomatic as well. And that's, the part that, people don't really understand how to, what that means. I got to learn that everything about in this world is about diplomacy, and everything is about agenda. Okay. You need to have, like I said initially, what you're pushing, but you also need to have the right network. You need to be able to scratch people's back so that they can scratch your back too. That's what networking is about. Someone is likely to see an opportunity and say, I know that Ijeoma is going to be good to be the CMD of that hospital, and we're going to put her in there. Everything is so that's also the part of you as a medical practitioner, as a female physician, that you need to also build on how to maintain diplomatic relationships. So along the line, as you grow in your journey, you meet people, you do research, people recommend you for things, you maintain relationships. Before you know it, you see yourself being in a circle of people that are doing big things, people that are CMDs of hospitals, for instance. And somehow, you just see yourself fit into that position. So really, I haven't done the CMD job, but this is how I've seen it. Currently, I'm working as a medical education fellow, and I work with the DME, Director of Medical Education, in the trust where I work. And I've had the opportunity to kind of, see the kind of meetings they have, how to even get there. Have interactions with him. I've asked him questions, and some of the things he said, he would say, okay, during my training, I did an out of program fellowship in the Department of Health and Social Care in the UK. And then I shadowed the health minister for 2 months. And then I later did a fellowship in this. So, you see all the things that they did and how they got into those spaces before they actually became the Director of Medical Education. So it's also part of what mentorship does for you, and, learning people's journey. If you get the opportunity to speak to people, you learn how they've done it. There's really no one way of getting into, that there. If you get me, some consultants in Nigeria are very good at what they do, and at the end of the day, they can become the CMD of hospitals even without doing all these global things we're talking about. That makes sense. Yes. So yes, that's it. Yeah, thank you. I don't know if there's any other question.
So Sarah, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Then I would read the questions on the chat. Dr. Sarah, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ijeoma. You were so relatable. I particularly love your story, how you talked about your background and how you rose from being a local girl to a global girl. I really, really love that so much. I don't really have any question because I've gone through the comments and I saw that some people have dropped questions in line with the things on my heart, but I just want to appreciate you for saying for being real and being vulnerable with us. You emphasized some things that resonated with me, and I just want to say them again, particularly because of the M1 students that we have on this platform, because those are some of the things that we've been talking to them about. We've emphasized it over and over to them. You've talked about the place of preparation, that you were preparing even when you were during house job, how you prepared yourself from the things that people were saying around. You just heard them that people were doing big things and you desired it and you started preparing for that. You started writing your plab on time and all. And that brings me to the point of that brings me to talking about how you had clarity, you knew what you wanted to do, and you started very early. And I just want to emphasize it to the students on the group that starting early is very good. And then we've been reading the book Atomic Habits, and for them, I think they need to keep up with their routines, because some of the things you were saying, I saw that, oh, you have actually been using some productivity tools, and you have talked so much about the things you do, how you balance everything. And, I just want to emphasize to them that having routines is powerful, and making use of tools that can be of help will take one very far. And yeah, one thing that also stood out for me is that having a family is not a barrier to progress. You got married in medical school. You had your first child, and then had you had your first child um during medical school, and during house job you were pregnant. That's a lot with the demands. But then you didn't make excuses. Instead, you took up the challenge, and you rose from being the local girl that you described yourself to be, to become a global woman. And I just want to salute your courage and your confidence. And well done. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. That's
Do
kind.
you want to? Okay, yeah, you responded. I was going to say, do you want to respond to that?
No, that's kind. Thank you so much. Like, you don't even know how much maybe the things that you say can encourage people. Thank you. I feel encouraged as well.
All right. And I forgot to mention that Dr. MKO is lucky because we wrote our exams together, our part one,
Okay.
your husband. And
Ah,
he tells your story on his status every time. And I have been wondering, like, who is this woman? Who is this woman? So when I saw the flyer, I was so excited. And I said, no, I must not miss this session. Thank you so much. So inspiring.
ah,
Yeah, thank
ah.
you.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Sarah, for that comment. I'm just going, before I come to Michelle Gundele, I just want to read out some of the questions in the chat box. So Dr. Yekpejo Abiyoye Akintola has asked that what are the most common gaps you see in early career applicants' profiles, especially coming from Nigeria? What gaps do you see? Because some of us we don't some of us are not aware of these opportunities, and even when we're aware, we don't feel qualified. So when you first set out, what are the common gaps you saw?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say we already have everything we need to apply. It's just boldness to put yourself out there. So medicine has a way of like making you to be very much reserved. You went through the stress of medical school, you read a lot, you don't just want trouble, you don't want to let your opinion known, you don't want people to say, oh, oh, is this what she stands for? But personal branding is about letting people know what you stand for. So sometimes, because of the fact that we've gone through medical school, we've gone through registration bodies, we are restricted. You don't have that boldness to come out to say this, especially if you're not a consultant. You don't want to say, oh, am I a consultant? I had that, imposter syndrome where it's like, why am I even talking about women's health when I'm just a HU house officer? Like, it's the consultants that should be talking about women's health, isn't it? So breaking out of that, you will see that people that are not even doctors are the ones talking about women's health for you. From my experience, you see that, people that didn't even like study sciences are the ones pushing gender advocacy and telling you women's health this, women's health that. And when you look at them, they studied maybe one art course, you get. So as a female physician, you're already overqualified. So you're already overqualified to be in that space to, say those things. So the boldness is what I would say is lacking, to put yourself out there. You've done, I'm 100% sure that as a medical student, as a female medical student, you've done so many things. You were course rep, you led your classmates to do this. One of the things I did, community medicine posting, I was the lead for my group, like about 30 of us out. I led our community medicine posting. And I put that in my application. This was what I did during that 3 months. I organized our transport because we used to go to one village in Ebonyi State to do the posting. I organized the transport. This showed me what it means to lead diverse group of men and women that are young. It's about how you coin the story that I had to speak to the leadership of the university. I engaged in strategic discussions with the school to say, this is what the student wants, this is what we'll be doing, like the little things we did. So it's about putting yourself out there, really. So I know that there's really no gap. You're overqualified. The only gap is just the boldness to step out and just be there.
Just learn how to communicate your value. Yeah, absolutely. Well
Yeah.
done. So then I don't know if so the next question is about how you navigated the process of transitioning or combining research and clinical practice as a GP. Do you want to touch on that? So,
Yes, I mean, it's something that I'm also still learning. Things keep unfolding. We don't really have it very clear, but I know what it's going to look like from my experience from my personal journey with God. I know like where He's leading me to. So sometimes you can apply for things and don't get it. That's fine. You move on to the next thing. So when I saw myself, I knew that first of all, I didn't want to be clinical. I knew I was passionate about women's health. I knew I had time, and I was asking myself, do I want to do obstetrics and gynecology? I knew I wasn't so careful to handle needle, and the few times I kind of assisted in surgeries, I had needle prick injury like 2 or 3 times in during house jobs. So I knew that, I know that I like obstetrics and gynecology, but I can't just be a surgeon. So what else can I do that will still make me relevant to talk about women's health, but also not be an obstetrics and gynecology? And then I got to know, that as a family medicine physician, you can specialize in women's health. You can even be doing things like that. So I said, okay. So that helped me to decide that I will do family medicine. Okay. Then the aspect of research is just something that came upon me. I worked as a medical education fellow, and the job was heavily doing research for the trust. So we were just doing medical education research. So we were attached to the opportunities that this conference is coming up. You need to put in something for the university to this conference. These conferences are coming up. How many abstracts have you prepared? So my job was doing all of that. So that helped me to then build my portfolio to be able to apply for the academic GP post. So it's just something that came to me. I'm not really sure I have so much passion about research, if I'm being honest, but let's see how it goes at the moment, so yeah.
Very well done. So Dr. Toby says this session was really amazing and enlightening, relatable, empowering. Thank you, Dr. Ijeoma. Thank you. And Dr. Peju asked again if there's someone on this platform who is where you were about 6 to 12 months prior to applying. I think it will be for Chevening Scholarship. Can you please outline what that person could do over the next 6 to 12 months to strengthen their global scholarship profile? So she's asking, say maybe when you were serving, or I don't know when you applied, or during our job, what do you think they can be doing? I know you've touched on some of them, but maybe just summarize.
Yeah, so I think you start with, at this time, what you should be doing now is to identify which scholarships. I don't know if I'm what you should be doing now is to identify which scholarships you're going to apply to. Like I said, I got a note. I wrote down the eligibility criteria, what I need to do for this one. So, okay, this one needs passport and transcript and letters. I need to write 4 essays for this one. This one needs this. So, arrange the things you want to apply for. Look for what they're asking for and prepare those things. So if it's the first Chevening, you need to write 4 essays: leadership essay, networking essay, career essay, and why the UK essay. Those 4 essays, 500 words each. I started working on those essays. So this PDF material that I'll give you is going to be very helpful. So along the line, I was like, okay, how have people written their essays? I started browsing YouTube, and this guy talking about, in your scholarship essay, include this, include that. I sat down, and first of all, I knew that this is the story I want to project, because the essay has to flow. If I'm talking about women's health, from my leadership essay, I'm talking about how my leadership helped to promote women's health. in the networking, I'm talking about how I met my friends and how we organized to promote an activity that supported women's health. In the career plan, this is why I want to now do a master's in global health so that I can advocate for women's health. In the UK one, why study in the UK? The reason I want to go, the UK one is a generic one. Everybody talks about, oh, UK is the best, has the best universities, has this. That's what you put there. So at this time, it's just get all the scholarships you want to apply, arrange them, look at their eligibility criteria, look at what you should prepare for, and then start preparing for those things. Some of them you will need to work. You will need to, if you feel like you don't have the profile, for instance, you don't have, during my youth service, I volunteered to be part of the executive, even though I just had a baby, but I needed to say, oh, CDS. So in my CDS, I think I had a post. I wasn't the CDS president because I knew that was a lot of responsibility, but I needed a post in that leadership so that, when we were doing, I could still add it to my essay as I can't remember what my post was, but like part of the CDS leadership, this is what we did in my CDS group and all of that. So, you start working towards putting yourself in those spaces so that you can then say those things in your application.
Wow, thank you. So final question, sorry. How can a female doctor with multiple skill sets develop a coherent brand narrative? So this is going to cut across, but everyone here can relate. I know Dr. Falakem is trying to position herself on LinkedIn. So some of us are going on LinkedIn. If you have different interests, there's family to us, there's our career, there's what specialty you're doing, there's research. We have Peju here is very passionate about research. There is baking, Dr. Sarah is passionate about. So we are multi-talented people here. How do you have a coherent brand narrative online? Do you open a different, what's it called? Instagram or YouTube page for each of your skill set, or how do you do that?
Okay. Yes, so so it's a very valid question. I was there at some point, and I've actually seen people who have done it, even though they are not doctors. Okay. At the moment, do you know, I have a business page, Adora by Linda Footwear. Okay. I used to make bags and shoes based on Osun State. You will learn it by force. So during my youth service, one of the things that I did during my CDS was learn how to make shoes and bags. Have a page and I'm promoting that. Okay. At some point in your life, some aspects of your life have to take the back seat. Everything will not be there at the same time. For the past 1 or 2 years, I haven't done anything with that business, but the business is there. We started it. Just the way I said, I've started my YouTube, the YouTube is there. I'm not a content creator like that. I'm posting every day, but let it be that when I want to post something on my YouTube, I have a channel to post. So regarding the question about harnessing your baking, your other crafts and activities, you don't have to put it into one application. It doesn't have to fit in. If the application you're making about a scholarship allowed you to say that part of what I have done is I have this business where I bake, and part of what we do is that after I bake, some of the profits I use it to provide, to give food to school children. I send them bakeries from my shop, or that I make footwears and for female footwears because I want females to look good, something like that. If it links to what you're applying for, add it by all means. But if it doesn't, you don't really need to add it, okay? Because it will not make any difference to the application. But you can have all of those things as part of you. Have all the pages. You don't even need, you can do it different ways. For me, what I've done is I have my personal Instagram account, which is where I post about my engagements, my activities, my global opportunities. And then I have this shoe page I told you. Now, if you go to my page, you see business, Adora by Linda. That's like the shoe page. I have my NGO page, Heroes for Her. This conference that we're working on now, the Young African Girls Conference, we've created an Instagram page for it because it's something that will be recurring. If people want to talk about the Young African Girls Conference, they know the page to check out. And all these things are linked to you. So you might see some people's page, their bio, they'll have a lot of creating this, opening this, working on this, things like that. So is you can be anything you want to be. And I forgot to say it at the beginning. I think I added it in my slide that you can't be one thing as a female young physician. I'm not one thing. I tell myself that I'm a mother. When it's time for me to be there for my children, I want to be there for them. When it's time for me to be a global woman, to speak on issues that I'm passionate about, I'll be there. When it's time for me to do my business things, because you need money as well, I'll be there. So you can actually be all of them. Harness all of them are part of you. They mustn't be on the same page. Have different pages for them. Have delegate people that are working on them. Your mindset, you're the one that have the passion, the dream. You're the one that knows what God has asked you to do. So you create them, you delegate. You create, you delegate. But you can be different things. You can be anything you want to be. I'm not calling myself a YouTuber, but somehow I'm a YouTuber because I have a YouTube page. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not calling myself a business person, but somehow I have a business as well. So you can be anything, actually. I don't know if that really touched on this question.
Yeah, I think it touched on it. I think it did. Yeah, well done. Thank you. Tumisha, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? Just for the sake of time, that would, yeah, I just want us to leave here before 4:30.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ijeoma, for the webinar. Like, I was really, really blessed and inspired. So what really came home to me was when you mentioned in this slide, you mentioned something like imposter syndrome, how you were able to navigate through that and get to know who you are. Because really, if you don't know who you are, you really can't be bold. So, and you mentioned the place of knowing God, how you were able to find purpose through that. So, practically speaking, how do you find purpose? Like, how do you move from that imposter syndrome? Because sometimes we get too busy with doing a lot of things that we really don't know what we should be doing in particular. So, how do you really find yourself amidst a lot of things? Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. I would say it's a difficult one to answer, but I know, I would say go back to God and ask God. You will hear, you will know. It will come upon you like, how does Miles Monroe say it? You will be uncomfortable. You will just know that there's this thing that you just have to be doing. You will be uncomfortable. There's this talk by Miles Monroe. I actually listened to it recently. How to know that you are a woman. How to know how like the signs and symptoms of a woman whom God has called. I think it's a new, like if you type that, the signs and symptoms of a woman whom God has called. Listen to that talk, and it was saying how you will first feel this, weight on you, how you will feel secluded, how you will feel scared, and how you are supposed to actually move. So again, the main thing is to go back to God, speak to God. There's several ways we do that. I have a partner whom God blessed me with recently, and she's mentoring me. She called it discipleship. So is it that I'm her disciple? But she's discipling me, and I get to ask her most of these questions. And this thing you said was one of the questions I asked her recently. That how did you know you were supposed to do medicine? Because she's a cardiothoracic specialist registrar at the moment, and it's like very specific. Like, how did you even know that you would do heart surgeries? That you will be cardiothoracic and very specific. And she was like, she went to God. And how did God tell you? Did God come down in your dream to tell you that you have to wake up and do cardiothoracic? And she was like, well, there were so many signs that came together. She was reading her Bible and she read something about, she was reading her Bible and she attended a church program, and they were doing a prayer session, and someone told her that she saw hearts, something like that. And then she read something in the Bible that was also linking to hearts. There were so many things she explained. I knew that was not how my own calling came over. I'm learning. So for you, and God can actually expose these things to you. You will feel this weight in your heart and you become uncomfortable. For me, what made me uncomfortable was the fact that I was seeing women die. Like during my house job, Ops and Gynae was my first clinical exposure. It was my first posting. So I was like, no, now that like, how can women die? Just some of them, you will see some of them that comes and they have money. And you will see how healthy they will end up, they'll end up going home, because even when you're speaking to them, they're like, I have money in this my bag. Can you help me open this part of my bag and bring out this money? You will see like the business women among them, how they are able to take care of themselves. You will still see others that will come. They can't even sign consent. You have to wait for their husband to do everything. So you will see these differences. So those were the things I was like, this is not right. Why can't women be able to fend for themselves. Why can't this woman be able to know that she's about to give birth? She should have started saving money. At some point, I was angry. These things will make you angry. These things will make you uncomfortable. That's how you will know that this is it. This is where God is leading you through. So it's just going back to God and just asking him to show you what what he really wants you to push for, because you need to know what you're pushing for again, so that when you get that opportunity, you won't be moved around, and you won't get into somebody else's passion or someone else's dream, if that makes sense. So, but again, you keeps getting clarity. You keep getting clarity. Like I said, using my own personal experience, when I first started, when I did my Chevening applications, I was just like pushing, oh, maternal and child health. But even now, I'm seeing, at some point I was asking myself, okay, maternal and child health, how do I even support maternal and child health? Will I be partnering with hospitals so that they can subsidize healthcare for women? Will I be going on policy and advocacy? How will I support maternal and child health? And what came to my mind, like very recent, I'm just telling you guys, is why don't you show young girls what is possible? Why don't you encourage young girls to lead? Why don't you bring young girls such a way that young girls in secondary school, so that they can start building their vision early? Oh, I know that from SS2, I want to be a doctor. Okay, this is what I have to do. I have to write my JAMB. I have to let them see. There's TikTok. There's so many distractions now. So even young girls now, like when we were young girls, I don't think we had so much of all of this exposure and all of these distractions. And if you don't catch them young, other things will catch them young. So it's like, what is going to be the fate of women in the next couple of years? Do we want women to start depending on, oh, I want to marry a rich guy? It's about marrying a rich guy. So everything they are doing is to do BBL, to do their breasts, to look beautiful so that they can get rich guys. And I told myself, no, this is part of the work I'm doing for women and girls. I know that it's not directly health, but it will also impact on their health. So I'm taking up this. We're going to do Young African Girls Leadership Program, which is the next thing that is coming up. Young African Girls Conference. Girls should come, meet with mentors, meet with women that are doing things that would encourage them to see, oh, this is what is possible. And it was something I lacked in growing up in Onitsha. I didn't see these things. I just was lucky to go to medical school and I graduated as a doctor. Imagine that I didn't even graduate as a doctor. I might still be somewhere in Onitsha selling okreka, So I want to show girls what is possible. I grew up in Onitsha like you. This person grew up in Nobi like you. This is what she's doing today. This is what she did to get to that stage. So this passion continues to, you continue to get clarity as time goes on. You don't need to have everything figured out now. Start first, and as you push, you pray, you move on, you see what people are doing, you adapt it to your own local environment, and ideas will keep coming to you, if that makes sense.
Amazing. Amazing. This session is so inspiring. Yeah. So inspiring. Dr. Ijeoma, you're so inspiring. And I'm glad we have spent a very impactful time with you today. It's been worth it. I don't think this 1 hour, 30 minutes for me has been a waste of time. It's been absolutely worth it. Very memorable and highly impactful. Like I keep saying that word again. Thank you so much. A little bird just told me that we might need to call you back. I know that, yeah, we might need to just call you back. I hope you're going to oblige us. I hope.
No worries. I'm okay. This is what I'm passionate about. So yeah.
Yeah, so we might need to call you back. I think we should maybe have more conversations. Yeah, I think we need to have more conversation about positioning ourselves, especially, with doctors being out there. You mentioned something about women's health, how people who are talking about women's health are not even doctors. And I came to the realization of that too. If you like, what is happening here? Like, what are we doing? And we have a lot to talk about, a lot to give. And like you said, we should develop that boldness. And one thing that we do here is that we are bold people. We are bold. We empower. So one of the ways through which we empower is, through career webinars like this. So, and this subject we are going to continue to talk about it. It's not something that we keep quiet about. So very soon we would like to call you back and have more sit down relaxing conversation in my PDP. This is scheduled session. It's a career webinar. Everybody's uptight. Come to my own PDP. My PDP is not as uptight as this, but yeah, I would like to sit down with you and I want a more relaxing session. So, but this has been relaxing. I'm not saying it's not been relaxing. It has been. So thank you so much. Thank you. I want us to go back to whatever it is we've been doing today so far, but thank you so much for coming. Ladies, please unmute yourself. Say thank you, Dr. Ijeoma. Thank you so much for taking time out to empower us today.
Dr. Ijeoma.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ijeoma. Thank you, Dr. Ijeoma. It was really fun to have you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
So, right. So, right. So I'm just going to like round everything up. So this is our monthly career webinar. So every month we do a sort of check-in session. Well, I know this is not a check-in, but I'm just going to like do like what's it called now? Service announcement.
Would you like to leave? Can I leave now?
Yeah, you can. You can.
Yeah.
You can, please. You
Okay.
can. But thank you so
All
much.
right.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right,
be your
guys.
DMs. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Bye. So I know there are a number of new people joining us here. This is Excellence in Medicine Ladies Network, if you're not aware of our name. We are a community of early career African ambitious, female physicians. We're excellent at what we do. And our goal is to excel in life and in medicine. We're privileged to be mentored by the amazing Dr. Jumoke Omenugha. And we are doctors, medical students all over the world. We are in Nigeria, in the UK, in Canada, in the US. We're all over. We're in Poland. We're in different countries around the world. So so I'm just going to like just make a little bit of an announcement for in-house doctors and medical students. So we should have a book review tomorrow. Dr. Vera would send us more information, and maybe another one towards the end of the month. And I also want to make a shout out or just congratulate people who became recently board certified. I would like to celebrate Dr. Adenike Fatiregun and Dr. Ufoma. Well done, well done, well done. Like, I want your emojis. Like, yeah, I am ladies, please put your emojis there. It's time to celebrate our people. We celebrate you, celebrate your achievement. Also, Dr. Busayo for the recent mention. Congratulations, well done, well done. Yeah, well done, everyone. So if you have any interest, if you want to, be a part of our network, obviously you can send us an official email or a DM via Excellent Lady Docs on Instagram. We'll review your application and see if we would like you to be a part of us. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. I don't know if Dr. Jimmy is here. I don't know if she wants to say anything, but if there is nothing else to say, no other business to discuss, I would like us to end this session. And I wish you all an amazing June. Don't forget to continue to, show up as a spec. Be smart, passionate, empowered, and confident. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Unmute yourself and just say bye, 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 bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, Dr. Aring. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.